Okay, my friends, a pleasant good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Those of you who are locked on, those of you who are taking the time off to look at Hardfacts. This program is aired Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, starting time 12:15 in the afternoon. I am your host, Imam Rashid Karim, my co-host, Mr. Premchand Baldev. We are here, my friends, week after week, trying to see, in our own humble way, how you and I could really and truly make a dent when it comes to bringing back our country alive. So again, my friends, this is very important information that is going to be shared on our program today, Hardfacts, and I would like you all, those of you who are locked on, those of you who are going to take your lunch break, feel free to call us. The number is 372-2129. That's a number where it's a lifeline. Trinidad and Tobago, you have a lifeline. You can call that number, 372-2129. Let us know what is taking place in your neck of the woods. This is your program. This is your program for you, for your families. And again, my friends, we invite you to join us today at 12:15 in the afternoon, where we're going to dissect the political scenarios that is presently taking place in our country. And secondly, my friends, we are going to talk about the economy. We're going to talk about the status quo of our country, Trinidad and Tobago, whether we really and truly are getting our money's worth. So again, those of you who are having your lunch break, please share this video and feel free to connect with us today. I thank you. Okay, my friends, a pleasant good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Those of you who are locked on to our program, Hardfacts. We are here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, live on Sentinel Media Broadcasting. And again, my friends, I want to take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you to our program where we identify the anomalies that is taking place in our country when it comes to crime, when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to home invasion, you name it, my friends. We are here live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, identifying with you, the populace of Trinidad and Tobago. So those of you who are having your lunch break at this point in time, we do hope and pray that you all are enjoying your lunches. Maybe you are having leftovers from yesterday. I know for a fact that a lot of people told me this, and I know for a fact from experience that, you know, when people make that Sunday menu, that's stew chicken and red bean or lentil or whatever menu that you make on a Sunday for your lunch, many of you, my friends, you cater a little bit extra so that you can be able to carry it to your workplaces on Monday. And some people tell me this, and they tell me this loud and clear, that my friends, that, you know, that same menu that was cooked on Sunday, it is more delicious on a Monday. All right, so those of you who are locked on, this is your program, Hardfacts. I'm your host, Imam Rashid Karim. My co-host, Mr. Premchand Baldev, is under the weather. He couldn't make it today. And again, my friends, we wish him a speedy recovery. Again, maybe if Premchand is feeling okay, maybe he can shoot a call and let us know how he's feeling at home, and maybe if he's recuperating at a speedy rate. Right? So again, friends, welcome to our program, Hardfacts. Those of you who are maybe abroad, maybe you are internationally oriented, maybe you are in England, you're in America, I want to say a special hats off to our dear friend Donald Samuj. And I know for a fact that he is a big hockey fan, USA hockey fan. And again, my friends, I know for a fact that Canada took the title there. So again, I do hope and pray that you are okay, because I know for a fact that you will really and truly back in USA. All right, so a lot of things is happening around the world, but back to our local areas in Trinidad and Tobago, my friends. The crime rate is speeding up, knowing for a fact that this is an SOE. What does SOE stand for? It stands for State of Emergency. And we are seeing, my friends, it is as though nothing is happening in our country, whether it be state of emergency or not. Criminal elements in our country, they are doing their crime freely. And that is something really and truly alarming. So those of you who are watching us on TikTok, maybe you can send a comment. You can say, hi, how you going? And maybe you can participate in our program here. Again, my friends, this is your program, Hard Facts. We have a caller there. So those of you, again, we're going to talk about crime. We're going to talk about murder. We're going to talk about landslip. We're going to talk about the carnival expenditure, if it is worth it. If it is worth it, again. And last but not least, we're going to talk about something that is very, very important because a guy came to me earlier today and we were having discussion. And he was saying to me, he was talking about the Caroni Limited lands. Caroni Limited lands. And as those of you who are locked on, again, you would realize that the Special Purpose Committee, which is the EMBD, who was supposed to be the governing body when it comes to developing Caroni land and so forth. I just want to let you all know, those of you who are Caroni workers and you all are watching our program, feel free to call us because really and truly 20 years have passed. Not 2, not 5, not 10 years, but 20 years have passed, my friends, and the Caroni Limited land has not been distributed as yet. Right? So all these things, these are very important discussion that we are going to have. And again, we are seeing a major landslip. That landslip, let me start with that landslip, director. Pull up that landslip for me. Because I tell you something, when it comes to kids, when it comes to school, when it comes to hospital, I want to let you know, Lengua residents, that is the taxi drivers, demand repair to dangerous landslip. And that is really and truly alarming, right? Knowing for a fact that our government of the day and our Prime Minister, or past Prime Minister, because we know for a fact that we have an acting Prime Minister, and that is Mr. Stuart Young. Again, we have a caller. Let's take the call. Caller, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Imam.
Welcome, salam rahmatullah.
How are you today?
All right, I'm fine, man.
I just have small points today. What is really going on with our beloved party? I've been an activist in Shogunas West for so long. And up to this day, we don't know who will be representing us in this upcoming election.
Okay, and that's a very, very important thing. And that if you are a first-time caller, right?
The first-time caller.
Right, good. So you are asking the question. You would like to know who is representing you in for the Shogunas West area.
Yeah.
And that again, my friends, those of you who are locked on, maybe you would be asking the very same question when it comes to Tabakit, when it comes to Muruga, when it comes to Komoto, when it comes to different areas in our country, especially where the team that is branded PNM-B team, right? You are in that area there. So basically, that is left to be desired. On this program, Hard Facts, we have been identifying, we have been trying our best to highlight and bring about some sort of sanity when it comes to United National Congress politics, right? And a lot of people have been lamenting and they have been saying things, but again, I don't want to really and truly cast any aspersion on anyone. That left to be, announced, that is in the purview of the political leader of the United National Congress, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bissessa, and whatever she decides, it is up to the residents now to take her decision. If you all would like to take that decision and run with it, that's your problem, right? That's your problem, right? So again, it is up to you, caller. Are you an activist in the area? Your voice sounds familiar.
Yeah. But a UNC activist, Mr. Pandey is.
Okay.
Mr. Pandey, he was a very, very good gentleman, a good leader. Mm-hmm. But apparently, Mrs. Bissessa is going on the same road.
Okay.
Because Mr. Pandey, when he won the election, he take care of people in the next side. He take care of the PNM people first before he see about Kuvanot.
Okay. So you are saying that majority of the leaders, whether it be Basil Pandey, whether it be Kamala Prasad Bissessa, and you are saying that sometimes when they go in government, they don't take care of their own. But again, I believe, my friend, I believe that is one of the policies of the United National Congress, where everyone will be represented and everyone supposed to be represented. And again, we should be in really and truly in cohesion with the thoughts of the leader, because basically I could understand clearly what you are saying. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, you know, for example, let me just give you an example. This program, Hard Facts, right? We have been lamenting and we have been complaining about the cremation site down in Felicity here. And
oh yes, I attended a funeral today, just recent, about an hour ago.
Right.
The piece of that road is very, very deplorable.
Right. So basically what is happening there is this program, Hard Facts, we identified, and the mayor of Shogunas, they did some remedial work in that area. But
yes, recently.
More has to be done. That's number one. And then we look at Kamla Prasad Bisesa. She, when she was in power, when she was in government, she did a lot of things for the East-West corridor. I would have expected, you know, on our program we have been calling on the Honorable Dr. Keith Rowley to reciprocate the favors that has been performed by the political leader of the United National Congress. And we are saying that, you know, there's a big need for a fishing depot. For a fishing port in Felicity.
Excellent idea.
Where there is approximately 500-600 boats, right, that really launch to go out there. And you look at the situation there. The cremation site is right here, and the fishermen has to use the same route. And sometimes that's sometimes it comes to war. On many occasions, fishermen want to go and earn their living, but because of the cremation site being in the landing strip, where the boats have to go down to launch, that creates a lot of problem. And these are things that we have been identifying on this program. We don't come here to look, I know we look good, but we don't come here to look good on our program Hard Facts. Myself and Premchand Balde, we try our utmost best to be, you know, be a people's people, in the sense that we do not bash the PNM, we don't bash the UNC. We just come out and we identify. Now, Mr. Gentleman, tell me something. What do you think about the opposition, the United National Congress opposition at this point in time? Are you seeing maybe changes that are going to happen or not?
So my view on that, apparently that is stagnant right now. If it remain in the same, with the same leadership, things need to be a little different. Going forward, things need some changes there.
Okay, so what is your recommendation, sir?
My recommendation is that changes have to be made, and the best choice is the people in authority. They know what to be. They know what needs to be done, but apparently some people is just staying quiet.
Okay. All right. So you need to make any final comments?
My final comment is that we will unite and we will prosper.
All right. Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much, activist. He is from the area of Felicity Shogunas there, because I could be wrong, but again, I kind of recognize his voice. And he told me a while ago that he attended a funeral service at the Lakan Carrier cremation site that is just about maybe 2-3 miles away from the studio. So again, my friends, to the family of the bereaved, the deceased person there, we would like to extend from Sentinel Media Broadcasting our heartfelt sympathies and condolences to the wife of the late Mr. Parsadi. That is the lady named, or their chachi, or their auntie, the late Parsadi, right? So again, my friends, as we continue our broadcasting here, we were talking about landslip. Bring back that video on the landslip there. Now, this is Lengua. This is Lengua village. And those of you who are maybe in the area of Lengua, is this the road that we are seeing, or this is some garbage heap or something like that? Because from maybe my looking from where I am sitting here in studio, that road really and truly is impassable. Nobody could pass there. And I think that warrants an immediate attention from the government of Trinidad and Tobago, knowing for a fact that it is an area that is highly traversed by students, passerbys, pensioners, and so many other individuals who use that. And again, at the back of that, I'm seeing like a farm there. So it means to say that that individual who is doing farming at the back of that, that is a problem for him to receive his feed, his water, and so many different things. All right, so again, those of you who are locked on, feel free to call us. The number is 372-2129. call us in studio and let's discuss, what is taking place in your community. Caller, go ahead. We have a caller on the line. Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, Imam.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling to find out a question. Why does I have to pay the rental for my property, and even though I still have to pay a property tax?
Right.
I'm very confused with that.
All right. One more thing. Just hold the line. The rental is a private owned property or it is currently limited land?
Currently limited land.
All right. Okay.
Run, and it is run by the Land Settlement Agency.
LSA.
Yeah.
When was the last time you paid rental?
I paid like about November, so it is paid from June to June.
1 year. Okay, that's a really important information. That's really important information that is being shared here by the caller. The caller is telling us, and those of you who are locked on, and maybe, thank you caller, thank you very much. Maybe you can stay tuned, you could call us back, or you can listen to other callers who coming in, and maybe giving their 2 cents, right? Thank you very much, sir. Currently limited land, those of you who are in charge of currently limited land, and the gentleman mentioned the Land Settlement Agency, which is LSA, right? That they are located, I think, on El Sicoro Road, San Juan. And the guy is telling me that he's paying, and I would like the relevant agencies or anyone with information like this, maybe you can call and share the information so that other persons who are not aware of what is taking place, because as was mentioned here, from my notes on the desk, the 27th of April 2000, that is in the year 2000, payment of all land tax to the government by Currently Limited was made, right? And again, LSA, those persons who are in charge, maybe anybody who is on the working at LSA, maybe you can clarify the person, the caller wants to know if Currently Limited lands, those of you who are renting Currently Limited lands, are you going to pay the rental to Currently Limited, and are you also going to pay the property tax to the government? And that's a very, very important, pertinent question that has to be addressed here on this program, Hard Facts. So again, my friends, Trinidad and Tobago, as you are really and truly bucking up, you are gearing up, and many people are gearing up for the carnival. Many people from the Hindu faith, they are preparing for the Shivratri. And again, the Islamic community, they are preparing for the holy month of Ramadan. And again, in a short while, you're going to realize that it's going to be Lent, the Lenten period, and so many things. I tell you something, it is only because of people praying, and really and truly people have that amount of connection with Almighty God, I believe that we are surviving in this country. Because if we depend on the hands of persons to really and truly safeguard the rights of citizens in this country, my friends, we are heading the wrong direction. As my friend, the director there, he's pulling up for me, the country murder rate at this point in time is, I think, 53. And look at what is happening. It clearly indicates the Trinidad and Tobago and the world at large who is watching. There are people who are watching this show. There are people who are looking on. And this country records its first triple murder for 2025. And that is in Guanapo. That's a really and truly kind of hotbed area, because we are seeing a lot of things happening across there. And those of you who are locked on, maybe you can call and you can tell us, maybe what is the reason for that? Why it is that those areas that we are seeing triple murder, double murder, and the most heinous crime being committed, my friends, you need to identify with us and let us know what is really taking place in that area. Number one, is it because of lack of representation? Number two, is it because of an economic problem? Number three, is it because of domestic problems? Number four, is it because of drugs? Number five, and we could go on and on and on and on. So this program, my friends, is your program. Those of you who are locked on, feel free to call me, 372-2129. I'm going to take my first break on our program here today. Director, let's take a break. So thank you very much, my friends, those of you who are watching our program and you are having your blessed lunch at your different venues. Maybe you are working in a supermarket, maybe you are working in a gas station, maybe you are working in the ministry, maybe Ministry of Health, Ministry of Works, Ministry of National Security. All those ministries, we want to say hats off to all those persons who are watching our program, Hard Facts, on Sentinel Media Broadcasting. I am your host, Imam Rashid Karim. And my friends, we are here, myself, you might hear me say in the plural because it is because of my co-host, Mr. Premchand Baldev. He's not with me here today, so I custom saying we. So again, those of you who are locked on, you can text me, you can identify, because there's lots and lots and lots of things happening in our country that needs to be aired. All right? It needs to be aired. Caller, go ahead, caller.
Hi, good afternoon, Imam Rashid Karim.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, there's a developing story at the Karapichaima Secondary School. The toilet areas, there are 4 or 5 toilets, and there are no walls separating the toilets, so there's no privacy for when the students are using the washroom, and that is a very, very concerning situation. That needs to be addressed immediately by the Minister of Education. How can you have children who are in their teens blossoming into this world, and when they go to the washroom, boys and girls, no privacy, there is no door, there is no wall separating each toilet, and that is very disturbing, very, very disturbing.
Okay.
No one would want to use that toilet where they have no privacy.
Okay, thank you, thank you. That voice is Mr. Premchand Baldev. Mr. Premchand
It is.
Yeah, he is addicted to the program. Huh? I tell you something, when we have people like Mr. Premchand Baldev residing in the country, Trinidad and Tobago, again, my friends, you know what is going to happen? You are really and truly a great one, because you are ill, you are sick, I know for a fact. Prem is on the line still?
Yeah, I'm listening.
What is the condition with your health?
Well, Imam, last night around 1 o'clock, I woke up with, we would say, a roasting fever, so to speak. I took a cold shower, I took some medication, and then this morning it persisted, so I went to the doctor, and my eyes are hurting. I cannot concentrate on the screen, and it is also accompanied by headaches. So I was given some medication and told to rest and stay off any screen whatsoever.
Okay, so thank you, Prem. Thank you very much. And again, okay, my friends, those of you who are locked on, Director, bring back those videos with the WCs there, the toilet. The video, yes. Now, I tell you something, and where this is, again, Karapichaima? Yeah, Karapichaima Comprehensive School. I tell you something, that is unacceptable. Trinidad and Tobago. And parents, I think that's a fake video, you know. Director, you check you check that. I can't believe that. I don't think anybody outside there in their right mind, outside there to really and truly believe that that is the situation at that secondary school. I cannot believe that. Because nobody is going to send their kids to school, especially teenagers, and they are going there to use the toilet, right? They're going to use the toilet there, and there's no partitions. No, something is wrong. I think that warrants the Minister of Education immediately to verify and ensure and make sure that that is not the occurrence there. Because that, I tell you something, that is unacceptable. Right? That is unacceptable. Director, just pull back that video there. I want my TikTok. I want those of you who are watching me on TikTok. I want you all to really and truly watch the situation there. Watch the screen there. I'm doing this for my TikTok fans here. All right, those of you who are watching, I just show you all the screen there. And that is the screen where a school in Central has open toilets, in the sense that students have to use toilets without any privacy. I don't believe it. I think that is maybe a fake video, but I'm just telling you all, if that is the case, maybe some parents or some students outside there can, I'm sure if my son was going to school there and that was the case, he would come home immediately. He would come home. If he have to use the urinal or the washroom, he would never use that. He would call and we would have to go there right away to pick him up. And I would do that, and I would get him out of that school immediately, because that school is, you know what, it is preparing people to enter the penal system in this country, where people would go to prison and they will be handed a bucket and it have 8 prisoners in the same cell, and that person has to defecate in the prison, in the same prison, in a bucket in Trinidad and Tobago. If you all don't know, ask prisoners who went in there. And you know something, Trinidad and Tobago, I am going to bring a prisoner who spent time in prison. And that story where people are using a, they want to call it a pigtail bucket or a 5-gallon paint bucket, that is what they are using to defecate in the prison, and around 8 and 7 people in one cell. And that is the inhumane condition in prison. But I say a prison is different. You can't bring that same system in the education system in Trinidad and Tobago, where you don't have barricade, you don't have partitions to block off where the kids are using toilet. No, unacceptable. So those of you who are locked on, if you have any children going to that school, and that is truth, that is the truth, call the number 372-2129 and let us really and truly make an uproar and ask the Minister of Education, and even so much so, the Minister of Health, intervene in that matter, because that is a health issue, number one, and number two, it is a issue when it comes to social development and privacy and all those things. So Trinidad and Tobago, we are talking about relevant issues that is affecting Trinidad and Tobago. Back to the caller who asked the question. The caller who asked the question that he is renting currently limited land, and he is paying rental. He's paying rental. Now I trying to, while we were talking here, I am trying to identify, right, whether, property tax doesn't really mean land tax. Land tax is a separate thing, and property tax is a separate thing. And that is something I believe the government of the day should really and truly come clean on that. Now, if it is private land, right, is a different thing, but currently limited land is owned by the state, by the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And how can people be paying land tax and then paying property tax? Director, pull up that statistic pertaining to the rental values, how much percent has to be paid. Now, Trinidad and Tobago, right, I want you all to listen, and those of you who are live on TikTok here watching our program, and maybe you all could be watching Sentinel Media. You could subscribe to Sentinel Media Broadcasting on this station, Hardfacts station, Sentinel Media. Now, this is how to calculate. What is the proposed calculation rate. Types of property. Residential property, 3% of the annual tax value. Vacant residential land, 3.5%. Commercial property, 5% of the taxable value. Vacant commercial land, 5% of the capital value, less 10%. Right? Industrial with buildings, 6% of the annual taxable value. Industrial without buildings, 3% of the taxable value. And agricultural land, 1% of the annual taxable value. Now, I want to tell you something. If I was in government, you see that thing called agriculture, I would have eliminated that 1%, because you all don't need that 1%, and you don't need, come back to me, Director. You all don't need that 1%, right? You might need that 1% somewhere else, but you don't need that 1% when it comes to agriculture. That is only tying up and confusing the farmer's mind. Here what? I have 5 acres of land. I had to go and multiply this, and do this, and then you know what? I have to calculate this. Hey, give the farmers a break. Like my Prime Minister would say, give me a break. Give me a break. So I'm saying the very same thing. Give the farmers a break. The Honorable Haji Kazim Hussein, who is the Minister of Agriculture, I just want to ask you all, maybe you can bring up that in Parliament, that do we really need that 1%? Because when we look at it, Trinidad and Tobago, 3% for residential, right? And 3.5 for maybe 3.5. When you look at the taxable annual rental value, right? And you look at the calculation there, you look at the calculation on the chart, you are going to realize that it would have been approximately $972 per year, right? $81 per month. Now, if that is the case, many people wouldn't have the problem. But then again, when you have a house living in Lange Park, or you have a house, you live in somewhere in Westmoreland, or you have a house living somewhere in San Fernando in one of them elite areas, you can't be paying $81. right? You would not be able to pay, you have to pay more taxes. But the point here is, when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to industry, and when it comes to business, at this point in time, I think the government of the day should have abolished those taxes and reduced property tax to a flat in areas like Central Trinidad, South Trinidad, North Trinidad. Go with a flat rate, maybe $300, $400 per year. And if the government of the day do that, right, up to about $500 per year, I tell you something, people would pay that property tax with ease, and that very said money, that very said property tax money, should go in a special account to do rehabilitative work in the communities. That is what it's supposed to be. But again, I don't think the government of the day is thinking that high in the intellectual capacity of serving the people, because sometimes that kind of money is pocket change. That kind of money, couple $1 million is pocket change. When we look at, the big numbers of figures, when we look at, for example, when we're going to look after the carnival here, and is, the budget is going to be read, and figures like 180 million, because when it was $140 million, nobody said anything. People were, okay, $140 million for culture, no problem with that. So if you get a fat bill now for $180 million, nothing is wrong with that. That is a very sad thing Colum Imbert said. When I raise the price of fuel one time, I see I could raise it 2 times, and then I could raise it 3 times, and they didn't riot yet. So basically what is happening, when Trinidad and Tobago, when good people remain silent, right, crime escalates. Things happen in the negative, because they know for a fact that nobody really and truly is there to govern over them, to even correct them. So again, my friends, those of you who are locked on, this is your program, Hard Facts. I'm your host, Imam Rashid Karim, and we are here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 12:15. I have some bad news for you all, though. I have some bad news. Some of you mightn't take it that well, because some of you are really and truly, I tell you something, we have people, I want to identify something to Trinidad and Tobago, right? I want to identify there's approximately 2 to 3% of our citizens in this country who is in. You all don't know that. You all don't know that. There are people in our country who are bedridden. There are people who are sitting on a wheelchair. There are people who are lying on a bed and they can't even raise their bodies up. Some of them, they can watch a television, and this is the only thing that really and truly, give them some hope during the course of the day. That's the reason I come here. I come here, and you know what I feel? I feel this program is we administer some kind of booster shot to these very sad persons who are sick and ailing in their homes. At least they would understand and they would know that things are happening in this country, and so much so, my friends, this is the midday period. They might get up, they might wake up for their lunch, right? They might get up for their tablets, and they might be watching our program, or they are watching our program, and they are going to benefit. But sometimes the night programs, the elderly ones are sleeping, and they are taken, they are cleaned up and so forth, and they are placed to rest, and the TV is off, the TV is off, and there's a kind of dark room kind of environment that is created. But this program, Hard Facts, which is aired 12:15 in the afternoon, it is a program for each and every one of you, and we are not encroaching on your time, because this time is either you are eating, you are sitting, you are in a position where you are having your lunch and you are relaxing, and maybe you can interact with our program, Hard Facts, that is aired on Sentinel Media Broadcasting. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to dive, really and truly, we're going to dive into something that is most important, that is crime and criminality. Okay, my friends, welcome back. You know, this program is a double program I'm doing here. I'm doing a program live on TikTok, and I'm communicating with people there. And again, I'm communicating with you, the live audience. And when you look at the background there, you're going to realize that there's a live background, right? That's the waterfront behind there. And those of you who are watching me from abroad, right? Maybe you can even identify what is taking place. Some of you are coming for Carnival, because this is what it is all about, Carnival and Nicki Minaj and Marshall Montano and these guys. You understand? A lot of things is happening. Now, my friends, Trinidad and Tobago. We are having a situation here. We are having a really, really bad situation. What can Trinidad and Tobago police service do to contain, right, that type of amounts of derelict vehicles? You understand? Pull that there, director. Pull up those videos. Trinidad and Tobago, I want you all to watch and see what is going on. Watch and see what is going on. We're talking about those vehicles are...
The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service spent $1 billion to purchase, maintain and rent vehicles between 2013 and 2023, Finance Ministry documents state. At least $299 million was spent on purchasing vehicles, $368 million on maintenance, and $172 million on rentals. But despite the expenditure, around 55% of the cars remain non-functional, either awaiting repairs or written off. The rusted and bleached shells of hundreds of derelict vehicles are found across the country. There are more than 300 abandoned vehicles alone in Kamuto. Last October, National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines said the service's fleet was 2,219 cars.
So I indicated to you that the operational vehicles are 1,393. I indicated to you that 546 require some repair. You asked the question.
I'll tell you something, and you know what I can't understand, Trinidad and Tobago? I know the opposition is to oppose, and I know the government is to govern. That is the reason why I have government. If you all don't know, government means to govern, and opposition means to oppose. If you all don't know, I'm just reminding you all. But you know what I can't understand? Every time we see certain elements of government, you know, they take the microphone, right? And the hostility that they demonstrate, it clearly identifies the amount of arrogance that has been displayed. They feel that they are untouchable. And I want to just bring to light, let me tell you all something, all of you who are ministers in this government, and those past ministers who feel that you all are untouchable. There's something that is going to happen to you, when that number call, whatever amount of monies you have in the bank, whatever amount of status you have, whatever amount of friends and links that you have, it cannot help you. Always remember, put that in the forefront of your minds. I think a lot of people today, when they hold a position, right, they feel here what, I am untouchable because I ride in a black Prado. I have a black Prado too. I don't think so. I tell you something. People who ride in the black Prados and who are in the back seat, sometimes you feel that you are untouchable, but that is not so. You all have to understand, you have to come back down to the ground. Right? You all have to come back down to the ground. I tell you something. Many of you today, people don't like you all. You know why? People don't like you all because of the attitude that you can convey. Even when we see this, some of the MPs and some of the ministers, MPs and ministers, I'm not talking about ministers alone. We're talking about MPs. We saw some MPs, they were castigated in their own communities. And we also saw ministers of government, they were run out of their areas and so forth. Why is that so? You know why? Because they thought to themselves that, every year we're going to do the same thing. When it's election time, we'll go across there, meet people, greet with people, shake hands, kiss babies, take out photos, and then what? Next 5 years, we're going to come back. That type of mentality is changing. I tell you something, that type of mentality that you have to understand that is changing. There's a new breed of people. There's a new blend of people right now. People want you all, yes, to represent them, yes. But you have to be able to give them something. That is the reason why today there's so much criminal elements in our society. People are feeling that they are not well represented. They are not scared of the police. Because just imagine, hey, Trinidad and Tobago, that SOE is a joke. That SOE that we have here is a joke. Nowhere in the world, if there's a state of emergency, you would find that the murder rate gone zero. What is the date to the director? Look at the amount of murder. We're talking about 53 murders gone. You know, that is a murder a day. That is equivalent to a murder a day in our country. You look at any one of those third world or even so much which is classified as whatever world, you know, I don't know where they get a classification from. If we look at New York, you look at those places, Brooklyn, all those places where have more persons living, you're not going to find one murder a day. In Trinidad and Tobago, under an SOE, under a state of emergency, it clearly indicates that something is not adding up. Either the message is not given out to these people that they don't understand what is an SOE, or is this SOE only for the privilege of the police and the army to go in and make some sort of escalation when it comes to warrants, no need for warrants and that kind of things. So Trinidad and Tobago is very, very important that we understand. Now, coming back to that, where Fitzgerald Hines, National Security Minister, stated that there's approximately 1,600 working vehicles. I think it was 1,593 working vehicles, and about 500 and something vehicle needs repairs. But when we look at St. Madeleine, there's a graveyard in St. Madeleine for police vehicles here. We're talking about, you know how much vehicles is there? Over 500-600 vehicles. And when you look at those vehicles, my friends, those vehicles are newly purchased vehicles. We're talking about the tenure of maybe 10 years old or 12 years old. You telling me, right, Trinidad and Tobago, we don't have intelligent people in the police service? We don't have people who are thinking constructive? Why it is that you're going to wait until all those vehicles, right, all those vehicles are rusted and rotted away, and then here what? You're going to sell a vehicle for $20 and $30 or $500 or $1,000? When you could have been able, if there's a problem with a transmission, that doesn't mean the engine bad. If there's a problem with transmission, that doesn't mean the starter bad. If there's a problem with the transmission, that doesn't mean the radiator bad. If something wrong with the transmission, that doesn't mean that the upholstery or the windscreen or anything in the vehicle else bad. The vehicle is not working because it needs a transmission costing maybe 15, 20,000. And you are going to throw away that vehicle. Or if a vehicle gets in an accident or something like that, that doesn't mean that the whole vehicle is wrecked. Other things could be salvaged. And why it is that the government of the day cannot understand that? Is there not right thinking mind in the government? I would like to call on the Prime Minister, the acting Prime Minister of the country, the Honorable Stuart Young. I would like to call on him, because that was his position at one point in time. I would like to call on him to do some kind of salvage work on all those derelict vehicles, right? Put people there who could identify. You have 100 vehicles? 100 vehicles, that means 400 doors. If one is damaged, you put that one side, you have 300 doors. You get the CPEP workers. I want to show you how I think in here. You get the CPEP workers to go and clean those doors, pressure wash those doors, and put it for sale. I'm sure that you're going to get maybe $300, $200 for one of those doors. And when you finish, you know, all those vehicles that is packed up there, if it is 1,000 vehicles, I am sure that you could be able to purchase at least 20% new vehicle with all those old vehicles. That's number one. If you are not thinking, you don't have to go to university. You don't have to have a degree, because I'll tell you something, on this program, I have been identifying a lot of things. The degree doesn't make you smart. Degree make you, you know what, it make you intellectually, competent. But when it comes to actual practical, some people, they have the degree, but they don't have no practice. That's the reason why, you know, when you go for a job interview, you go with what? You go with 20 certificate. And when the person who is doing the interview see 5 degree and this, that, the next, they become scared, because you know why? You are intellectually capable, but are you practically capable of handling the job? Could you cope with the peer pressure in your work? Could you be able to communicate with a man who doesn't have a degree? Because you have elevated your status quo when it comes to education, but can you communicate with the lay person on the streets? And a lot of people who are educated, they feel that that man who doesn't have a degree, he's stupid. That is what they think. Those of you who are looking on, watch and say, check what I'm saying to you, especially on the TikTok. You know, a lot of people feel that, here what, I have a degree. and my degree makes me smarter than everybody else. But don't get that too ripe in your head, because I tell you something, a lot of people who are grassroots people, they are most intelligent. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you, like, give you an example of what I'm speaking. There are people who are educated, right? And they cannot change an angle valve in a WC or a toilet set. They can't do that. And you know something, they would have to wait if the same person who you call stupid and the same person who you call illiterate doesn't come to repair that. Most of the time, maybe you have to go in a hotel and spend the night because you cannot use the toilet because the toilet is not functioning. So everything goes hand in hand. You all have to understand that government and opposition is very important. Not because you is government, every time you go up there, you demonstrate, you know. You demonstrate this stern look, this stern, hard-faced look, and you feel that everybody is your enemy. You can't do that. You can't do that. Or is that the show that they show to the general public outside? When they are indoors, they are shaking hands and hugging up and maybe doing whatever they have to do. But when they come out in general public, they make you and I fools. And they make you the man who wear in the red jersey, and the man who wear in the yellow jersey, and the one who wear in the blue jersey. They make us enemies, and they separate us so that they can lead and they can rule. And I'm telling you, Trinidad and Tobago, that should not happen. That should not happen. We should be fair in our dealings. We should be understanding what is taking place. As I said, I say this, and I'm going to continue to say that. Any government of the day, really and truly, you know, simmer down in the sense of collecting that property tax and make it known to general public or other governments that is going to come that that individual home is his sanctuary. Nobody's going to take it. Nobody, because it already had it. You all know what is going on. You have to pay internet. You have to pay water rate, right? You have to pay phone bill. All these things you have to pay so that your children can be happy. And above that, now you go and pay tax, and then you have to buy food, you have to pay insurance, you have to pay license, you have to pay all these taxes again. And my friends, you know what is happening? There are people who are, you might see them, that is one of the reasons why I don't judge people. I don't judge people. I don't judge people. Because sometimes a man might have a good car, but he don't have money to pay insurance. You might know this, but I asked Imam Rashid Karim. He will tell you that. They will come by me and say, Imam, I need a loan boy, I need to pay my insurance up. And I have a nice car, but people might say I'm rich. You know that man, $5,000 or $6,000 from his monthly income is going to pay for that car. That individual doesn't have money to pay his insurance. There are people who don't change oil frequent in their vehicles. You know why? Not because they want to, because they're delinquent. You know why? Because they can't afford it. There are people who cannot. They cannot buy a new tire. They have to go by the for a used place and look for used tires so they could buy, so that the police won't charge them. You all don't know what is going on. And you know the hard part about it. The hard part about it, the people who voted for the United National Congress, they voted for a party to represent them, not to go there and divide and fight and manipulate. Not to go there and divide and manipulate the system. Because the people have lost confidence. You heard the first caller. He lost confidence. He is in a quandary. The caller is saying, I don't know who to vote. But I said this already. I can tell the caller what to do. If you vote UNC, half of the people in this country don't vote UNC. UNC is still going to get 18 seats. They're going to still get the 18 seats because of the big margin that they win. They win the election on a big margin. If maybe 500 or 1,000 people say, well, here what, I'm not going to vote now because I really can't stomach what the UNC doing right now. Imagine this. When we look at the both sides of the fence, we've seen people talking about race. We are living in this country so long, always have African people, always have Indian people, right? Always have that. It always have the white people in this country. It always have the Chinese in this country. And everybody made some contribution to have us where we are today. But I would say this distinctively clear. The people who is causing the problem in this country is the politician. You can't do it without them. You can't do with them. But I tell you something, the problem is the politician, because all they're concerned with is pretending to really and truly represent you. Because I tell you something, there are ministers in the government who people have not seen them. My Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Keith Rowley, he distinctively mentioned that in one of his contributions. There is approximately 29,000 voters constituent in my constituency, and I knows not one of them. How can you I do hope and pray that Stuart Young would change that, and he will go down, and he will go down there and meet with his people, right? And meet with his people and identify. I don't expect him to go there. There would have been counselors, and that is the problem. There's a disjoint when it comes to politics in our country. People don't understand what is a counselor. They don't understand what is the responsibility of a chairman. They don't understand the responsibility of a mayor. They don't understand the responsibility of the position that they are holding. What they're supposed to be doing is the counselors supposed to be identifying with the community at the community level. The counselors, that's your job. Your job is not to go in no office, air-conditioned office, and hide whole day. People, you have to be visible. That is why you are collecting $8,000 and $10,000 per month. Identify. You're supposed to know as a counselor in your area how many pothole, how many mosques, how many temple, how many recreation ground, how many cemeteries, how many people who are sick, how many people doing dialysis. All these things you're supposed to know. You're supposed to know that, though Imam Rashid Karim know it. In my community, I know exactly how many people taking dialysis at this point in time. I know how many people need wheelchair at this point in time. I know who are poor, who are needy. I know people who are suffering in this community, they have given up on them. I know that, and I'm no counselor, and I don't ever want to be a counselor. I don't ever want to be a counselor because I am beyond counseling. I already done that, been there, and I'm going to continue doing that as long as I live. I'm going to represent the people in my community and the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm not, people might say, I'm campaigning. I'm not campaigning. I'm just telling you the truth. We're talking about police vehicles, so much derelict police vehicle. Why it is that you wait 10 years and then you're going to sell it out, and some individual is going to come in there and they're going to an auction and they're going to buy all those vehicles, and those vehicles are going to be sold, and you cannot get one vehicle with the money that it is being sold for. When you could assess that, you have 1,000 vehicles at this point in time. Get some scrap men and scrap all the doors and take out all the doors and put it in one warehouse. You know you have 10,000 doors. When we add up or give it wholesale, sell it to Bix and one of them fellas in the bamboo. Sell those things, sell those vehicles, put a price on it, not to come and do an auction there, and people who know people and this one know that one, they come and they buy everything and they get everything for next to nothing. Right? Some of you might like what I'm saying, but I'm saying that's the real thing. That's the issue. That is what is happening in our country, Trinidad and Tobago. Let me talk about Carnival. I saw a heading there. Bring up that, director. I saw a heading. Trinidad and Tobago suffering from Carnival data poverty. Now, what does that mean? Somebody tell me? And that is in the business section of one of the daily newspapers. Can you all identify what is meant there, that there is data poverty? It means, in my knowledge, in my own common sense knowledge, it would mean that the amount of information that is being shared, it is lacking. That is what I would have understood when they say data poverty. But again, my friends, you have to ask the question that year in, year out, $160 million is being spent, and that is only a part of it. I'm sure that there's more money that they're going to spend, because private sector spend money. Not only the government will spend that, right? People don't understand, they don't think like how I think. I think deeper than normal. The government of the day will spend $140 million, right? That for preparation and so forth. What about the private sector? What about the people who are buying costumes? What about the people who are paying for this and that and the next? Yes, a lot of money is being generated. Maybe that is the reason why people are saying that the Carnival is suffering from data poverty. Right? But the bottom line for me here is what is derived, what is going to be derived, what is the benefit of those large sums of money being spent, and people who really and truly desire us of some sort of respite. Right? When it comes to the property tax. You see I use it, property tax. They are being stretched to the limit. How much is 1% when it comes to agriculture? How much $1 million is it going to work up? Can the government of the day not say, well, here what? Farmers, here what? We're not going to charge you, and ensure, because I tell you something, a lot of currently limited lands have been people are doing business. People are doing industry. People are doing, you know, all kind of commercial things in the land that's supposed to be for agriculture. Where is the Minister of Agriculture at this point? Where is the Minister of Agriculture? I'm calling on Minister Kazim. Minister Kazim, you have an important portfolio in our country, Trinidad and Tobago, and I would request that maybe some forensic being done when it comes to people having 5 acres and 4 acres and 3 acres, and they are not using the land for the purpose in which it was designated to be used for. Right? And that is something that is very, very important. Again, as we close up our program here today, my friends, we're going to repeat back what we said in the earlies. Pull back the videos, Director, so we can summarize the program. Triple murder in Demerara. Right, this is in Guanapo. Country records first murder. This is Lengua residents, taxi drivers, demands repair. You all right? You all right to do that? Protest. TNT suffering from carnival data poverty. That is important. Detective investigate 2 overnight murders in La Romaine, Pinal. Stop right there, Director. Those of you who are living in La Romaine, those of you who are living in Pinal, those of you who are living in different areas in Trinidad and Tobago, I want you all to come out here and make a phone call, 372-2129. Call that number and let us know, have you not noticed that there is a lot of murders taking place in a once peaceful community of Pinal and Debe? And the question begged to be asked, come back, Director, the question begged to be asked, why is all those murder being committed? Is it that there is migrations of criminals from different parts of the country and they are heading towards San Fernando and Pinal and Moruga and those areas? Huh? Can you all say? And the only way we can know that is if you call that number 372-2129 and identify with us and say, well, Imam, what you're saying is the truth. A lot of people, we are seeing new faces, people from different parts of the country, they are migrating to those areas. No, this is the information that we want to hear. So those of you who are locked on, maybe you are in Canada, maybe you're in America, you're in Florida and different parts of the world. You are in India, Pakistan, you are in Palestine, different parts of the world. You are in our neighbor backyard here, right here in Tocopita. Maybe you are in Maturin, maybe you are in different areas and you are watching our program. I just want to say a special thank you to you all. Continue watching our program. Again, to the families, and I want to close off with this, the families of those persons who lost their lives. In that boating accident there, where the boat capsized and a lot of things. Those of you who are watching, you realize that lots and lots of information are being disseminated at this point in time. And the question begged to be asked, who is to be blamed? Who is to be blamed? The government of Trinidad and Tobago, the government of Venezuela, the pirogue owners, or those persons who are the brokers? Who is to be blamed? And I tell you something, God Almighty is not sleeping. God Almighty is not sleeping. Families have lost their loved ones. People are leaving their hometown. They are leaving their country to come to Trinidad for some betterment, for some life, either to take care of their own friends and families and maybe their loved ones at home, right? And that opportunity was snatched away and taken away from them. So that somebody has to answer for that. We have a caller, the Director? All right. So again, my friends, I want to thank you all wholeheartedly. May God Almighty bless you all and keep you all safe until Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be our last show until after Ramadan. We're going to come back. You know for a fact that Ramadan month is going to start most likely on Friday, right? Friday might be the first fasting. It depends on the sighting of the moon. And Saturday first fasting, right? So these are the important data that we would share in our program. We, Sentinel Media Broadcasting, is going to host a special Ramadan program. A special Ramadan program with insights on fasting and the holy month, Ramadan, fasting, and questions pertaining to fasting. Like, you know, for example, let me just give you a little insight on the topic. You know, people are going to ask, can we take injection? Can we take an injection? I am suffering from diabetes. Can I take an injection? Or maybe something like that. Or, Imam, should I fast? Because I am, you know, some sort of ailment, or maybe I'm taking medication. Those things, all those questions and things are going to be answered on that segment, that program. And the name of that program is Hidayatul Islam. So stay tuned for Hidayatul Islam, where you are going to really and truly benefit. And that program is not only for the Muslims, that program is for the general population. Because a lot of people who have families who are Muslims, they could be able to ask questions and identify on behalf of those persons if they have not seen the program. So those of you who are bedridden, I want to say a special hello to you all. Those persons who are wheelchair bounded, I want to say a special hello to you all. Those persons who are sick, right? And maybe you are in your room watching our program Hardfacts, a special hello to you all. And may God Almighty grant you all shifa, grant you all a speedy recovery. To my friend Premchand Baldev, may God Almighty bless him and grant him a speedy recovery from the ailment that he is plagued with at this point in time. So until Wednesday, I thank you all very much. Imam Rashid Karim signing off until Wednesday. God spare our life.